Wait, but just like, rehearsal, what's your biggest fantasy?
Yeah, great question. Not sexual, right?
Now I want to know, though. Now I want to know.
I
Seriously.
guess I feel like for me, I don't have fantasies anymore because I feel like everything is now possible. So it's like because fantasy kind of implies that it's it's so out there and so unreal, but I feel like it's all possible, it's all real. So I don't think I have fantasies like that anymore.
Fly, baby
Like
girl.
that. Yeah, I'm like I could fly. I feel like I could fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I am flying even in a different reality. I'm flying, so I don't know if I have fantasies like that.
That's beautiful. I don't know if I have fantasies like that. Like everything is just possible.
Yeah.
So I fly right now. Okay. I like it. I like it.
Shall we do our intro?
Yeah.
And three.
Wait. It never gets old.
And three, and two, and one. Hey guys, and welcome to Ask
And
So
so,
Friday. First question. What can help when you want to quit smoking? All these things that we have, like these addictions or these dependencies, because we all have them in one way or the other. It could be smoking, it could be partying, it could be drinking, it could be being on your phone all the time, it could be sugar. Like for me, sugar was like a really big thing. All these things that we need, that we feel like we need and depend on, are all just trying to fill some void, some space that we have in us. And so I feel like the first place to start when you want to let go of something that you've been dependent on is to try to understand what it is that that thing is giving you. Is it pleasure? Does it cover up the loneliness? Does it cover up boredom? Does it cover up what is it that you're looking for? What feeling do you get when you're there? So I feel like if you start there, then that might point you to the issue, to what it is that you're actually trying to fix within yourself by whatever it is that you're dependent on. The next thing after that is now finding other things that can bring you joy, because typically whatever it is that that thing that you depend on gives you some pleasure, some enjoyment, some sort of happiness. So the next thing is to then find things in your life, other things in your life that can give you that joy, that can give you that happiness. And if you don't know what they are, then now it's perfect, because that means you can now discover them. It means now it's time for you to find new things that you might love and have a good time with, that you never even knew in yourself that you might enjoy, because you never gave yourself the chance. Because anytime that you were feeling like you needed something, you would go for the thing you're depending on or that you're addicted to, instead of finding other things. So now is the time to like explore everything is under the sun that could possibly bring you that enjoyment. And then I think the next thing as well after that, or at the same time, is to then also in that same spirit, is to look at it when it is that you tend to gravitate towards that thing. And typically, because we're creatures of routine, we're creatures of habit, there tends to be specific times of the day or certain days that we would go for the things that we like. For me, with sugar, it was always in the evening, maybe after a tough day, maybe when it was really quiet, then I would find my like thing. And so I think notice when it is, because you'll typically have a routine. Notice when it is that you reach for the thing that you're dependent on, and then take yourself completely out of that environment. Leave the house, take a walk, just completely change what you do, because it's really hard to change a habit when it falls into a specific slot in your day, because then it makes sense that you do A, B, and C. And then if you now try to take away the thing that you're addicted to, then there's now a gap in your day. And you can feel that emptiness, that there's something there. And then now that thing that you depend on feels even more like you need it. But if you were to completely change so that there's no longer A, B, C in the space, you just B, there's D, there's Z now, and you completely rearrange how everything works, then there'll no longer be an empty space that you need to fill with that thing that you depend on. So for somebody who's trying to quit smoking, for the person who's asking this, that's what I would say is first notice what gap or void in you that thing is trying to fill. And then once you have, now fill your life with joyful things. And then finally rearrange how you do everything so that there's no longer an empty space where that activity used to be. That would be my answer to this question.
that was beautiful. That was
Thank you.
that was beautiful. Today I was painting, and I was doing my backgrounds, for
Right.
my portrait, and I was like, this is
And I bet
so
you're
much
having the
fun.
best time.
And it's like, oh, okay, so next time when I want to do this bad habit, all I have to do is just get my painting stuff because it's so fresh to me. Get something that like feels like fresh, that feels exciting, that you're like somewhat is, it's giving you the oomph, 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 oomph that the other thing that you're trying to get rid of, or smoking, let's say, would give you. I love that. That was beautifully
Yeah.
said.
Did you do anything last weekend?
I did. I went for my first basketball game. Woof! There's some players. I was like, it was everywhere on that court. But anyway, so this like one of like he was number 55. I was with 55 the
We need
whole
to pull up a
game.
picture of number 55. We can Google him, right? I also want to see. Okay, anyway.
Cool.
Continue.
And so he gets injured or something like that. Now he's on the floor and he's like on the floor. I'm thinking, oh, the guy passed out. Next thing you know, he's up, he's doing push ups on his way up. And I'm like, okay, 55. So that was the highlight of the game. And then I went to a jazz festival because I
Oh, that's so
recently
fun.
discovered that I love jazz music, which
Mm-hmm.
is so weird for me. But you guys like call me crazy, but now I'm listening to this jazz music and I'm feeling like tingling sensations, almost like I can feel my body vibrating. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the energy is just tingling. That emoji with like the stars, the tingle that we use on the cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt like that was like every, and I was like, is there something about this jazz music? Like, I had no idea jazz music was somewhat in this like high frequency or
Mm-hmm.
spiritual
Spiritual.
wavelength that you can feel this like
Mm-hmm.
it was a sensual type of whew. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Because every genre, different genres bring out a different type of sensation.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked that sensation. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay. I'm a jazz gal now. Ooh, cutting your own hair, would you do it?
Yeah, I do it. And you do it.
I just started doing it on this hair journey, and I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I really felt like Britney Spears. Like when she like and everywhere the whole internet broke because she cut her hair, and I felt like, oh my gosh, is that what I'm going through? But it was so empowering,
Mm-hmm.
to just look at it as, oh, okay, like this is parts of me that can grow again.
Mm-hmm.
I this is part of my release, my let go. Like I'm letting go. Like I have such attachment issues. I feel like my attachment issues are also manifesting on my head with my hair that
You
I
have
don't want to
attachment
get this.
issues? You have attachment issues?
Stay tuned for the next video,
Let's
y'all.
get into that.
Stay tuned. But yeah, I have attachment issues. Like, I don't like to let things go. I have a hard time saying goodbye. But like, we've come a long way, which is amazing because I'm out here like,
But I also struggle sometimes with letting go of things. Like I'm always like, I don't know when I'll need this, or I have to keep that and to hold on to that. It may be helpful later or something. And then I end up keeping things way longer than I need to, things that I don't even use anyways. I don't know what that's about. So now I'm trying really hard literally these days. I'm like, okay, like as early as like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, okay, do I need this? It's been sitting here for 3 months. It's time for it to go. Let's let go. Let's learn to move forward with things and lighten the load.
I gave away a bunch of my clothes, and I felt like I was connecting with the water side of me because I'm like super like stubborn and rooted to the ground where I must like be like holding on to everything. But now connecting with the water part of me, it's like, okay, some things can go, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
I wouldn't even like as because you're an earth, right? But I feel like your earth isn't. I guess it can be rigid or stubborn, but I feel like it's just that's the nature of earth, right? We can't have the earth just shifting underneath us when we need to be walking steady. So I feel like you being that way is just it's your nature. It's the nature of earth. It's the way that it is, and There's nothing wrong with that, with
Mm-mm.
being that way and with needing things to be stable and grounded. That's what we need from the ground. We need it to remain as
Mhm.
the ground. But then also
Mhm.
now recognizing that you can flow with certain things. Now that's beautiful because like
Mhm.
then we're accessing our avatar state where we can master all four elements.
Exactly. Because we need all four, right?
Hmm.
Like, I think it's amazing to be stubborn. I think you
Hmm.
need to because
I think
it just
sometimes you
means
need
that
to
you're
be.
defined. You
Hmm.
know what it is that you want, you know what it is that you're after. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful to flow. People need to go watch After the Last Airbender because it's giving
Yeah.
Qatar.
But right now I'm working on like my earth. Like I'm working on taking more of
Mm.
your groundedness because in my chart, I don't have any earth. It's just air, water, and fire. And I feel like there's lots of water and air. And so we talk about this all the time. My head is always in the clouds. I like to dream, imagine, visualize, thinking. The ideas are always flowing. I have the most fun when I'm up there. But then now when something needs to be done down here, like I need to apply for something, I need to send in a form, I need to write something down in my planner. Now it's just like chaos, right? Because that's not the nature of like air. It's just very if it's
And that's
hard, if it
what's been
meets
happening.
resistance, it flows
And
around it.
that's what's been happening as I'm delving into the air part of me and the water in me. That like I'm spending when I'm like more in touch with my air side, I'm spending so much time flying that now coming
Hmm.
back to the ground. Like these applications, like what is that?
It's heavy. It's heavy on the ground. Like it's very
Yeah.
heavy.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
It's like
very
it's
heavy.
I'm stepping out of my feminine.
Yeah,
Now
it's
I'm
more
in my
masculine.
masculine.
Yeah, I'm in my masculine when I'm learning to balance my masculine because
Ah.
we need the masculine. Like I need the masculine. Like I see you, and like I told you that the
Mhm.
most profound thing that you did for me a couple of weeks ago was when we were like, we need to do something. We need to finish this task, and then you pulled out your planner and you wrote it down, and I was like, duh, Chelsea,
Mhm.
that's what people do. They write things down because like I'm just like, if it's important enough, it'll come back to me. I'll remember it. I'll write it on this paper, that paper, and then it will just like disappear. And so now I'm like, no, actually, I kind of need to be both. I need to have that water and that air and flow, but I also need to get things done down here
Mhm.
and, move with the earth. So now I'm like, I'm getting into my earth, balancing my masculine actually with my feminine. And so that we can create this beautiful dance. We can
Create.
co-create and yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a sidetrack.
All
But
right.
yeah, guys, watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon.
And then come let's chat about it.
Next question. Is it easy for you to forget people?
I wouldn't say it's easy for me to forget people, no.
Really?
Um, yeah. It's easy for me to stop thinking about people, but to forget somebody, no.
It's interesting that you drew like a distinction between it being easy for you to not think about someone versus easy for you to forget about them. Because to me, I took them as the same thing. Because if I'm not thinking about you, then
Mm.
I have somewhat forgotten you in
Mm-hmm.
my current reality. And so for me, it's actually really easy to forget about people until I decide I want to think about them. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I just step into a reality in which they don't exist. And so in that world, they're not a part of it. And then in that world, I just don't think about them until I call them into that world and I say, okay, now I want to think about you. You know? Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Where like I think that I spend a lot of time in my world,
Hmm.
in my bubble,
Hmm.
and I don't invite too many people in it, and I don't like
Hmm.
negativity in it. So if you're not in the bubble, you're not being thought through, and that's
Hmm.
amazing. You're in your own little bubble that you can think about yourself in, right? So that's a good thing, and never a bad thing, right? Because
I think so.
you're moving it on with you and yours.
Exactly. I'm moving on with my life. We can't be like, we don't have enough storage space to just be carrying everything with us every time we need to move to the next place.
This
That's why we
becomes
have,
dead weight.
yeah, dead weight. We don't need that.
And I think it's beautiful too because that means that that person has finished accomplishing their mission in your life, and it's time for them to go and like accomplish more missions that they have. And it's time for us. They've given us the tools that we need to go and fulfill whatever it is that we're fulfilling in our lives. It's so beautiful.
Exactly.
When I started looking at like goodbyes as that, it was now easier for me to then let go and release.
Hmm.
Like when it's like, oh, it's not a bad like it's me. thinking it's a bad thing, therefore I'm making it a bad thing. But it is a beautiful thing because now it's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what you be doing in like 5 years, you know? Yeah,
hmm
it
I
is
really like
amazing.
that because same, I think same, I took the same approach, the same view where I was like, okay, if somebody needs to go, if they're saying goodbye for whatever reason and they're just no longer there, it just must mean that the next part of the mission doesn't involve them. They now need to go on their mission so I can continue with this mission. And if we get aligned again, then we get aligned again. But it just means that where I'm going now is I need to be either with these people or by myself. And then when I look at it like that, I'm like, okay, it's serving the greater purpose of my life for me to go this way and for you to go that way. And it's serving you as well in some way. And same, I can't wait to see where your journey took you because it just means I wasn't meant to be there for that. You know, we'll see each other if we see each other again, you know.
See
Yeah.
ya, what I wanna be ya. No shade, that's just the quote. But actually, sidetrack. So, see ya, what I wanna be ya goes perfectly with the definition of what a friend should be like in your life. I heard it on TikTok the other day and I was like madly in
Really.
love. But it was basically saying that your friends shouldn't be people that want your life. They shouldn't be people that like would want to trade lives with you, and take
Mm.
your life because then that's some sort of negative wounded part of you that wants to
Mm.
take away the life that you have so that you can live someone else's. That means that you yourself aren't accepting your life. You're not happy with your life, you know?
Mm.
And then it started to get me thinking that, okay, so if the right friends are the friends that wouldn't want my life, what kind of friends do I have around me right now? And I thought about it and I was like, you would never give up your life to come and live my life.
Mm.
You love
Mm.
your
Mm.
life. You
Mm.
love your life. Today you were even glowing as you're walking down the streets. You're like, "Eh, da, da, da." You know what I mean? Like you fully
Yeah.
accept your life, that you're not going to step into my life and want to take over my life. So then there's a
Mm.
perfect balance with the people that
Mm.
like
Mm. Mm.
somewhat, like felt like there was a certain level of jealousy. We can never be friends. How can
Mm.
we be friends when I want your life? I want to be you. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I feel like it's even the same thing as in relationships where they say that you don't look for your partner to complete you. You come complete, they come complete, and then you create a full life together. And that sounds a
Mhm.
lot like parallel to the friendship idea where it's like I have my life and you have your life. And we're not trying to find our wholeness, our friendship by being taking over the other person's life, but by living our separate lives and like if the journeys flow together, we go together.
How do you feel about the idea of being with someone for life? I think it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so much beauty in it. Um, I think I see it as the people that are in your life are only there to help you fulfill your destiny. So if you've got for lifers, right? It's called them for lifers. If you've got for lifers with you, it means that this person is some crazy, amazing individual that's gonna get you. They're gonna see you through all these trials and tribulations, and they're gonna be on the stage with you, like holding it up, like, yeah, we did that. You know what I mean? No matter what sort of relation that is, romantic relationship, a friendship, whatever it is, a for lifer. Oh,
Mm.
they don't come by easy like that. They're
That's so
rare.
funny. I love that you took it like as either romantic or platonic because immediately I thought of this question, I went romantic. And so
Mm.
because when I think committed, the idea of being committed to someone for life and I think platonic, then I think of you, then I'm like, oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah. Of course we would be committed for life. What do you mean? But when I think romantically, that's when I had to pause. I think maybe because I'm still healing my heart chakra. I'm still healing my heart wounds, my relationship wounds, those wounds. And so even though I know that I want this partner for life and I know it will be beautiful and amazing, I think I don't still yet have an understanding of what it feels like to decide that you're going to be with someone forever. So I don't know how I actually feel about it at this moment. I know that it will be beautiful when I get to that stage, but right now, I actually don't know how I feel about the idea of being committed to someone for life.
For life,
Yeah,
yeah.
it feels like a lot.
You said that you're working on your heart chakra.
Yeah.
into that. Tell us about the heart chakra.
Where am I at? It's only recently that I've been able to be emotionally vulnerable enough to make room for my own sadness, my loneliness, my hurt, to even be able to share that with people, to even be able to share that with you, that, oh, this is how I'm feeling. Because for years before that, I would have, my approach to all of these things was to just be closed off, was to be more cold and detached, and was to not show any weakness, because I really thought that emotions were a weakness. And being open and vulnerable was a sign of a weakness, and that it wasn't safe to be emotional with people and to share what I felt and what I thought. And so because of that, I also didn't have any healthy ideas about relationships and commitments. How could I be in a relationship and, we were having this conversation, claim to love somebody, or think, claim to, yeah, to love them, when I couldn't even be vulnerable and open. I didn't know how to be, and I looked at it as a weakness, something to be used sometimes, when needed. And so now I've worked through so much of that. Now I'm at a greater level of consciousness. So now I can see new things. So now,
Things you've never
yeah,
seen before.
yeah, things I've never seen before. Yeah.
I started my heart chakra like a couple of months ago. And still in it, goodness. But
Same.
like what I've noticed is like it has healed so many parts of myself,
Mm-hmm.
even ones that were as recent as 3 years ago. So whoever I was 3 years ago, I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
Because my heart, like you said, it was so closed off emotionally. Like I was not, the way that you experienced me then is completely
Mm-hmm.
different to the way that you experience me now, just
Mm-hmm.
by the bit of the crust that I shed off of my heart chakra. When my heart chakra was completely blocked, it's so different to the way that I'm going to be seeing, but the way I already see things now. When my
Mm-hmm.
heart chakra feels there's some space, it's flowing through, it's
Some
clear, it's
space.
clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like it's so true that, like, as we're expanding, so the relationships and the types of partners we attract also change. Like, as we're opening, these centers, we're also now getting relationships and situations that are more in alignment with where we're
Mhm.
at.
We attract what we are. So if
We
we want a
attract what we.
healthy masculine, we need to be a healthy feminine.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, because
mm-hmm,
now when we're
mm-hmm.
like attracting from the wounded feminine, then we're confused why these guys are just out here just wilding like no man's business. It's because we've attracted what is within us. The
Mm-hmm,
opposite
mm-hmm.
nature.
In your opinion, is it okay to not have a lot of friends? I feel like I would modify this question and say instead, are you okay with not having a lot of friends? Because I think you can have a few friends and you can be very happy. You can have a large number of friends and be very happy. You can have no friends. Maybe that's not so great, but you can be okay. But I feel like the way you feel about it is dependent on what you really want. If you want a few friends and you don't want a lot, then you won't be happy if you have a lot. But if you have a lot and you want a few, you won't be happy with a few. I feel like there is no okay or not okay. There's only what you are okay with.
I personally prefer to have like a smaller circle. But that's because that's up to me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what works perfectly for me when I have like less friends. I've always though wanted to have like a bunch, like a group of friends. I've always aspired to have like a group of friends where we can just go and like I don't know, like have wine or have dinner, like make dinner together, etc. But I just always like was an outsider. So I never found that group of girls. I never found that belongingness
Mm-hmm.
from the sisters. Now, I have managed to open up space for more friends, and it's so amazing. I believe in categorizing friends. 100%. But the fact that, like, when I felt it when you said it's completely up to you, as somebody that used to only allow, like, a handful of people or only felt comfortable around a handful of people, therefore that's what I used to allow. Now I'm able to make space for myself to come to a stage. I think it's me, it's the shift in me,
Mm.
because now I can welcome a bunch of friends.
What was that shift in you that allowed you to now hold space for more people?
When I started working on being a safe space for myself, when I realized that I wasn't a safe space. I was in.
Mm, 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 mm. Let's take a moment.
Amen.
Let's take a moment for that statement. One more
Yeah.
time. Say it again.
Amen. Amen, child. Amen, child. It came with just understanding and accepting that I wasn't a safe space for myself. I wasn't safe
Mm,
around me. How can I be
mhm,
safe around everyone else? I didn't
mhm,
trust myself. How could I trust everyone else?
mhm,
It was, and I was so miserable. So because of that, now I'm like angry, I'm ashamed, I'm all of these things. I'm reactive. So I'd project it, to the
mhm,
people that were closest to me, to the people that I cared for most. I'd now project it by trying to give them a little bit of my misery, of a little bit of my anger, so that you could also feel this too. I can't be the only one feeling this,
mhm,
right? Misery likes company. So
mhm,
once I switched that narrative, when I got my and got into plant medicine, I'm an advocate for plant medicine.
Amen.
I'm an advocate for plant medicine, and it shifted. It was a therapy. It was a 5-year therapist in
Mhm,
like a night, in one night. It was crazy.
mhm,
That's when I started to see myself and how dangerous I was. That's when I
mhm,
started to feel like, oh my gosh, this whole life I've been a person walking, but a dead person walking. I've been so
mhm,
like closed off, so asleep. I was
mhm,
completely asleep to the point where I had no realization of myself or the world around me, because now the world around me was just shifted because of the relationship that I had with myself. So once
mhm,
I started to, open up the heart chakra, start to like find out, okay, who am I? What do I like doing? Am I like what is me? What is
mhm,
me? What is my vibe? Start to figure out that. And that came with, so what is the vibe? When you asked me, okay, so what's the vibe? And I was
mhm,
like, what do you mean? And you're like, yeah, what's your vibe? What is your vibe? I was like, I like to be cozy. You're like, yeah, cozy. That's the vibe. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I like cozy. I like being comfortable. I like, okay, so that's me. Okay, I like calmness. Okay, so
mhm.
now that's when I was able to now make a safe space for me. My space is calm. So if you're not calm or you're not bringing any calmness to my space, I can't let you in the space,
Oh,
because now you're shifting my space and now you're putting me in your space.
let me just write this down because you're spitting some wisdom so that I can reflect later before I forget. Right.
Amen.
Mm, mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm, mm. What do I like? Do
I
I
want to
like?
figure out what you like. What do you
So what
like?
is
And be descriptive.
so what does being a safe space for you now look like? How are you a safe space for yourself?
I'm a safe space for myself by nurturing myself. But now my apartment is filled with plants and flowers, and that's what nurtures me. Like I get nurtured by nurturing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Being a safe space for myself means that I can finally like allow myself to feel my emotions. I can let go. I can release. I can cry. At
Mm-hmm.
first, I never used to allow. Same thing like you said. I never used to allow myself to cry. It was weakness,
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability. What is that? Like, ew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like how can you be so mediocre? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now, so I'd only allow myself to cry in the shower because the water's already dripping. So it didn't feel like I was crying. It's
Oof.
just when I
You are a
get out of
scary
the
place.
girl, I was in a
You-
scary place.
you-
Like when I get out of the shower, my face is just puffed up and red, and it's like, oh shit, I've been crying.
You know, I used to
Um,
schedule my cries. I used to be like on Sunday afternoon. Back when I was so closed off, I would be like, okay, there's a lot happening, but I don't have time to feel right now. I have things to do. So on Sunday evening at this time, that's when I will schedule a cry. And then I would cry at that time and then be like, okay, time to move on. That's how much I would like compartmentalize my emotions and I was so blocked off. Can you imagine scheduling your cry? You
also
know?
been another thing as well that like you feel like crying right now, stop everything. Cry. Why must
Mm-hmm.
you block it and put it to the
Yeah.
no?
I
You
didn't
need to
allow
feel it
myself to
now.
release. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what
Mm-hmm.
being a safe space is. Allowing yourself to feel whatever it is that you need to feel right
Mm-hmm.
there and then. Don't
Mm-hmm.
compartmentalize. Mm-mm. Mm.
Mm. So now creating that safe space for you, nurturing yourself now allows you to hold that space for other people.
It's so crazy because I've been seeing the improvement from other people witnessing it with me, and they say
Mhm.
these specific words. That's why it's so important for you to be specific. You know, state
Mhm.
what it is that you want. I have keywords that I'm like, okay, so
Mhm.
if I've been putting in the work, can someone come in and then can they say this? I can't say it here because now y'all will be
Mhm.
trolling me and keep saying it. So I say like my
Yeah.
specific words. So now I have like someone pop in and like speak to me and like cry or whatever. And after they were like, oh, I feel so good. I just felt
Mhm.
so safe here.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? How? Because to me, I was never a safe space. So that for me then signaled my improvement that, oh, I've been working. But how
Mhm.
am I working? Because, you know, some of these things, they're not like tangible. You
Mhm.
know, like especially
A
on
lot
this
of them
healing
aren't. Yeah.
journey, it's not tangible. You can't see like your improvement on a scale, or you don't get like 85%, that's your percent. Like you don't
Mhm.
get that.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
so hard for you to figure out if you're actually doing or putting in the work. That's what I
Mhm.
struggle with. That's why I end up feeling like I'm not doing as much, I'm unproductive because the
Mhm.
work is so intangible. But
Mhm.
now it's like, oh, okay. So when I chat with you, I hang out with people that I feel safe with, that I feel so limitless with, that I feel after we hang up the call, I'm like in a different
Yeah.
reality of, so then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that, and then maintain that safe space so that when someone comes in, they can feel that safe space too, to just be.
Mhm.
It's
Mm.
just about
Mm.
being.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Mm,
That was beautiful.
mic drop. I
Mm.
actually felt like we sidetracked, but yeah.
No, we did, but that was beautiful. It was worth it. Oof.
I love
We took the
that.
scenic route.
How do you deal with a partner who compares you to their ex? Oh,
Eesh.
child.
Wow. Wow. I'm guessing they're not comparing you in a good way. Like, it's not like they're like, oh, you're so
Mm.
much better. Oh, you're like, I'm guessing it's
Wait,
the
but I
other
have a
way.
question. I have a question though.
Hmm.
Have you ever been with an ex that has compared you to their ex?
No, I'm always the best damn thing that ever walked into any man's life.
Oh my gosh, you
No.
know, I've had like um I've had someone come to me and be like, oh my gosh, because he was saying, like, yeah, my ex would always have her toenails done. And I was like, tell him, babe. Or he'd be like, yeah, but like, you know, Cheryl was kind of like this. And I'm like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I love that though. I love
mm-hmm.
that. I love that.
Yeah. It depends what spectrum, what side of the spectrum you're on.
Mm. I'm
Mhm,
assuming that this person, they're probably comparing them negatively, like being like, oh, my ex used to do this and you don't, da, da, da. In
mhm,
which case, it sounds like your partner isn't over their ex. And maybe they just got into the next relationship with you, but really they're just wishing the whole time that you were that person. And they just keep looking for that person. And every time they see you, they just see not her, not the ex.
mhm. I'm
So,
not her.
yeah, they just see not her. So
Yeah.
maybe, do you want to be in a relationship where you're
Were you just
constantly
getting like
being.
half-hearted stuff? Or do you
Mm-hmm.
think it's just hard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need
wait,
to
you're
be
not
with
enough.
you need to be with a partner who looks at you and only sees you and wants to keep you, you know? They're
Mhm.
like, I saw you, I chose you, and you're the one I want forever and ever and ever. Don't settle for somebody who sees you but wants someone else, you know? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
how do
that's
you
just
do?
taking ourselves to the pits. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm yet to meet somebody that enjoys being in the pits.
It's a ghetto out here.
Eh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And also, you know how they say that um the love that a woman accepts, you can tell how much a woman loves herself by the kind of partner that she accepts or by the kind of love that she accepts. So if the kind of love that you accept involves constantly being compared to other women negatively,
Mhm.
then perhaps you also need to look at
Mhm.
yourself and see if you think deep down you're actually deserving and worthy of better. Because if you look at yourself as deserving and worthy of like beautiful love, then you wouldn't find yourself staying in a situation like this.
And I think, oh my gosh, that is so beautifully said. And it's a universal concept that should go everywhere, even if it's not a romantic situation.
Mm.
You know, that like if someone is not seeing your light, stop settling with that.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to be around someone that sees you as a dimmed light?
This reminds me of a quote that I just saw last night that was like, "It's so beautiful to be seen by someone who knows what they're looking at." You need to
Mm.
find someone who knows what they're looking at, because when they see you, they're supposed to just be like, "Wow,
Like you're gorgeous.
you
You're so
deserve that.
sexy. You're
You
oh my
deserve that."
gosh, you're so special. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there is someone out there. There's always someone out there that will do much better than this that you're sitting with that is giving you bare minimum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Next question, who do you trust the most?
There's been a lot of these trust and
Hmm.
commitment like questions lately. Ooh, who do you trust the most? This is such a big question. Trust in which way? Trust that they would never betray me. Trust that they would do things I ask in the like I can rely on them, depend on them kind of way. I'm not sure where this question is trying to go. But
Mm.
who do I trust the most? I feel like I would put you and my mom up there,
Mm.
for people, because it's my mom. You know, I feel like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter when, doesn't matter where. I would
Mhm.
always be like, I know that she's there,
Mhm.
um, and I feel like I would put you in that same
Mm.
category where I would be like, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when. I know that you'll
Mhm.
be there.
Mhm.
What about
Mhm.
you? Who do you trust the most?
Yeah, like you, I was like, well, this is such a this trust again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need a video where we're talking about trust, guys, because trust begins within.
Mm.
Because, you need to trust yourself, but even trusting yourself is also scary because sometimes we betray ourselves. Um, but definitely my mom, because like she's like always there. I remember like she would be at my hockey games and I never used to really like see it like that, but she was always there and she'd be one of the moms that are screaming on the sidelines. That's how she was in the game.
Mm.
She'd get up, she'd like drive like 4 or 5 hours if the game was 4 or 5 hours
Wow.
away, and then she'd be
Wow.
watching, like she lived the journey with me. Now that my little sister's going through that same journey, I'm able to see how much effort it takes for my mom to be able to show up for us in the way that she does and still be able to get on with her own life and her own mission and whatever, but also still be calm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, with you, it was when like I was so like I remember like when I had like this like panic attack and I was oh yeah, things were just like guys, shit was hitting the fan in the panic attack. Like that the world was just it was so scary. I didn't even know where I was. And then I saw your location and was moving and I'm like, where the hell is she going? And then 10 minutes, you walked through the door, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it makes me feel so emotional because I was like how, like you're here, and you're like, duh. And I'm like, what? And you made it seem so like, of course I'm here. Like, what, like, huh? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't gonna happen any
Oh.
other way. And I was like, okay, that is crazy. And even like, my last relationship, it was so easy to leave because you were there, and
Mm-hmm.
like you were somebody that I could depend on. There was no source of confusion. This is my theory
Mm-hmm.
that if you, whatever situation, let's go into the romantic since everybody's in the romantic world. So if you're in a romantic relationship and sometimes you feel a little bit confused, or sometimes you have a little bit of doubt, like, what's going on here? Or sometimes you actually just like wake up and you just don't feel good, then that might not be the right environment for you. You know what I mean? People always talking about, oh, that's a different conversation, but that might not be the right environment for you because now when I was hanging out with you, I was never confused. Your place was the first place that I went to with no GPS. And I've been driving for like
Mm-hmm.
2 years with the GPS. Even if I was going right
Mm-hmm.
around the corner, I'm putting the
Mm-hmm.
GPS. But now, because your place was a place where there was no uncertainty, there was no confusion, everything was, it just made sense that
Mm-hmm.
I could even get there. Without it, I trust that I can get there because there was
Mm-hmm.
so much trust within you that I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I like whatever you told me, yeah, yeah. I don't. Chelsea said this, so you're probably talking out of your butt, like because yeah.
I love that's so funny when you say Chelsea said this, because earlier today I was talking to you in here. I don't know what we were
Mm.
talking about, but I was like, yeah, if you just told me to quit my job, I would quit. If you said to sell that thing, I would sell it. If you said to do that, I would do it. I would do it because I trust you so much that, you know, if you were to be like, you need to do this, I would be like, okay, I guess if you're like, we need to go, I would be like,
And
okay,
you know, let's
where are we
even get
going?
into this
You know?
conversation because without this little piece, it makes no sense. God comes in different forms. Source visits us, universe, whatever you want to call your higher power, the cosmos, the guides, the spirits, whatever it is that you refer to your higher power is. That higher power knows no confusion. It knows no unsettling energy. It doesn't like to settle. It's bougie. You know what I mean? At the same time, seriously, eh?
No,
You know,
amen.
it's
Amen.
bougie. It likes top. It likes certainty. It likes to know that okay, this is the environment that we're in. This is the way that
Mm-hmm.
we're going. And when you're with people that make you feel that way, it's as if that higher power is now. I believe that we're all vessels. So now the higher power is able to just use you as that vessel. So whatever it is that you say, I already know it's truth. It's aligned because with you I feel no certainty. So of course God is in the room. You know, where two or more gathered there I shall be. You know
Mm,
what I
mm,
mean?
mm,
So now
mm,
when you're
mm,
speaking, it's like, oh my gosh, this is Chelsea talking, but it's like divine. It's
mm,
divine
mhm,
Chelsea speaking.
mhm,
It's not Chelsea, it's divine
mm,
Chelsea.
mm,
That's just speaking through physical Chelsea.
mm.
So yeah, like if you were like, that's why I find that like when I'm about to do something, I'll call you and I'll be like, hey, so um, what do you think about this?
Mm.
You know, can I
Like I
do
did the
this?
same. I did
Like,
the same.
how's this going? You know what I mean?
I'm like, what? It even reminds me when you said in this the divine speaking. I remember the day when I was frustrated and I was lying in bed and I was like, I want to see God. I want to see God. Let me see God. As I'm shouting that, the phone starts ringing and it's you.
Amen. In the flesh and blood.
I was like, ah, you can't make it up. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Amen. I already feel the limitlessness now. Whew. Okay.
Now, why would you want to go somewhere else when you can come here and just feel all this oomph?
It's nice over here, guys.
Nice
I
over
always
here.
say that. It's nice over here.
Like you want to be over here and feel this niceness.
Right? There are no problems here.
Okay.
What do you think about guys who say they don't cry? Ooh, we.
I'm just
I,
gonna be out there frank. I hate to say it like this, but anyways, take it the way if it resonates, if you know
mhm,
if the shoe fits. But
mhm,
like it comes from if you a guy, if you don't cry, you're wounded.
mhm,
It's a wounded aspect. Why don't you cry? Why aren't you allowing yourself to feel these things? And I say boldly like that because I'm somebody that didn't cry. And I'm a female, but I was always such a tomboy. You know, I feel like this society, this world is just so harsh upon men. Why are we trying to tell them that it's weakness for you to cry? You need to keep it
mhm,
together. And
mhm,
then we're so confused as to why they've got all these psychological problems, why they can't keep a household together, why it's because of all the things that we're making them hold on to. They
mhm,
don't have safe spaces. Where are the safe
mhm,
spaces for men? Because even in those safe spaces there's so much judgment.
mhm.
Like, why don't you want to cry? Why don't you want to feel? Ask the questions why, and you'll stumble upon a wounded area of you that needs to be mended, that needs to
Absolutely. I was going to say as well, like, same on the same lines that when a guy says that he doesn't cry, I don't want to say it's a red flag. It's a sad flag, but it's a sad red
Mhm.
flag as well,
Mhm.
because then it means that he doesn't know how to be vulnerable with himself. He doesn't know how to allow himself to be hurt, to be sad, to be insecure, to doubt, to be unsure, to be lonely. Like he doesn't know how to meet himself at that level. And people can only meet you at the depth at which they've met themselves. So that
Mhm.
means that even if he's a great partner, even if he otherwise tries to be a great boyfriend, he'll never be able, there's a certain level of intimacy that you guys will never be able to share because he won't be
Mhm.
able to hold you in your emotions because he doesn't know how to hold himself in his. So you have to decide for yourself with that, whether or not you're okay with that. And it may be okay now if you're a bit younger, but like we're women, we go through so many cycles in our lives. We feel so much, we have so much depth. We carry so much with us. And if
Mhm.
a guy doesn't know how to handle the full range of emotions, if he doesn't even allow himself to see them and feel them, sometimes he might sympathize with you when you're feeling how you're feeling, but he'll never really be able to hold that space for you and allow you to feel all the things that you feel as a woman. As much as he may even try, he'll never be able to get there. So you have to decide for yourself, what level of intimacy do you want in your relationship? How much are you willing to give up? Because you'll have to give up a lot if the guy you're with says he doesn't cry. So
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, it even reminded me of I see women as jewels,
Mm,
but in order for like a or plants, but I like jewels. Let's go with jewels. I see women as jewels, but you can't have a jewel. You can't keep a jewel in an unsafe area. How are you
mm-hmm,
gonna do that? There's a reason that like jewels are kept in like a glass case, with like, oh my gosh, action movies have like all this security, like
mm-hmm.
protecting this jewel, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
now when you like hold the jewel, you don't just grab it, you touch it gently, you carry it gently, you hold it with pride
Mm-hmm,
as well because you're holding a jewel. And it's the
mm-hmm,
same thing, like if you want to be touched gently, you need to go to someone that's gentle, and what are the characteristics of someone, what does someone that's gentle do? They cry, they're also able to bring themselves and be vulnerable in that space. They're able to be soft to you by being soft with themselves too. You can't just hold a jewel, like, you must like
mm-hmm,
sometimes you need
mm-hmm,
to caress the jewel, but like how are you
mm-hmm,
gonna do that if you don't even have that caressing relationship with yourself?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, are you a person who feels jealous when your friends do well?
This is beautiful because we were just talking about friends, and
Mm-hmm,
the right friends for you don't want your life. And
mm-hmm,
that is beautiful because that you specifically said it so well, that because then they can embrace things for you. They can cheer, you along your journey. They will understand that this is my life and that is your life. And that's the beauty of it because we're here to share those experiences and share them differently. Um, yeah, no, no, no. I love how different my friends are from me because that's what even like builds me up even more. My friends inspire me. So I see my friends doing super well and it's inspiring because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is what my friend's doing." And if my friend is doing that for themselves, that means it's for me too. Because you
mm-hmm.
are who your circle is, and your circle must be skilled. It must be filled with things that you don't have qualifications for or that you cannot do for yourself. Because that little close knit circle is the one that's going to put you in these top notch rooms if you allow it to. So, yeah, if like there's a friend that you have and you feel jealous vibes coming, I think it's time to kick rocks, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Because now that friend doesn't want you to succeed. They're just going to sabotage you along the way. They're going to put you down, with their words, with their actions. Words have so much
With
power.
their energy,
With their
even the energy.
with
Mm-hmm,
energy transfers.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, no, I think you need to be someone that is not jealous, especially towards your friends, in order to
mm-hmm,
support them. In order to be a friend, you cannot be jealous of your friend.
mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Like, that was amazing.
Mhm.
And I would add, for me, when I see this question, I'm thinking of somebody. When I see this question, I think to myself that I don't think I get jealous of my friends. But sometimes when I see my friend doing particularly well in something, or getting something done, or just doing, really great, it makes me feel a way about myself if I'm not careful. I start to wonder, what am I doing wrong? Am I not good enough? How come I can't quite measure up? Will I get left behind by them? you know, it brings up my own fears, my own insecurities, my own doubts about myself. And I'm like, but how are they doing that? How come I can't seem to do that, or I'm not doing that right now? It can even be something as small as like you, for example, if you're in a particularly happy era. Like sometimes if I'm feeling kind of like, I don't know, low, I'm in a self-doubt era time, and I look at you and you're in your most expansive self. And sometimes in those moments, I'm like, how come I'm not flowing the way she's flowing right now? Why can't I bring myself to feel that way as well right now? So I'm not sure that that's jealousy necessarily, but sometimes if I'm not careful, yeah, I'll look at something that my friends are doing and wonder why I can't seem to do it as well. Um,
Do you
yeah.
know what? I think that's beautiful and I think it's super healthy because that's what helps motivate you to keep on pushing for you to keep. Because I know, like, especially like my friends do such wonderful things and such amazing things.
Mhm.
And like, I know, like, what keeps me, why I love my friends that are so limitless and so
Mhm.
bountiful is because then, like, I'm constantly like looking and I'm like, she did that. Okay. So I need to get my shit
Mhm.
going so I can keep up with her. Otherwise, she's gonna leave me. You
Yeah,
know, like I need to go where I need to. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's like it's that same. And if I'm not careful, that inspiration that I get from my friends doing so well can now be twisted with my thoughts if I'm not if I'm switched
Yeah, it's
off
twisted.
when it happens, then it's now turning into a negative aspect
Hmm.
of it. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Yeah.
Amen. But so true because I think it's a twisted. It's not really, I think, how I truly feel. I don't think it's a reflection of me. I'm not those fears. I'm not those negative thoughts. They happen, but I love it for my friends because true enough, if one of my friends starts doing nonsense, I'm gonna look at them and be like, get it together. Let's go. We got places to go. Come on, let's go. I want my friends to succeed and do well. And even when I was in Winnipeg like a few weeks ago and I was seeing each of my girls, each of my friends, everyone was driving. I got picked up everywhere. I was getting picked up everywhere. I was just driving, just sitting in the I need a guy. I didn't need to call a guy and be like, yo, I need a ride. I need to, I had these beautiful women just like with their cars, just and I was like,
Just
yeah.
rolling. Just
I was like,
rolling.
those are my girls. Like, those are my girls. Yeah. So
It's
yeah, I
so
think it's yeah.
secure.
So I
Mhm.
think it's okay. I think it's okay to sometimes have doubts and fears and insecurities when you see your friends doing well. But first of all, remember that you are not your insecurities. You are not those doubts. That they are not you. They don't. You inside is limitless, and you just need to tap back into that limitlessness that you have. And remember that, like you said beautifully, your friends are your inspiration. They're gonna get you into the rooms that you want to get into. And your circle is a direct reflection of you. So if they're doing well, that means actually you are doing well. Even if you don't quite see it for yourself, it must mean you're doing something right. So,
Mhm. That
great
was beautiful
question.
put in detail. Yeah.
Meanwhile, pause. Do you see the time?
I do, Sha.
So, what's out? We need an outro because we have an intro. Hey guys,
Hey.
we need an outro.
Thank you for embarking on this journey with us and like for wanting to actually hear what's happening in our lives, for like for willing to like sit down with this entertainment. I will call it what it is. I will call it what it is. What do they say? Like, share, subscribe. What is it?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we love having you guys. This is so we have to go. Oh, attachment issues coming back. Never mind. And that's it for this week's episode of
ASK SOW
Awesome.
Friday.